Hey everybody, welcome back to Logged Into Life. And I wanted to use this video to start a bit of a series of basically an introduction to macOS. So in this particular episode we're going to have a look at the macOS desktop layout. So if you want to make some notes, grab a pen or an iPad or whatever else you might like to use, and let's get into it. Hey everybody, and welcome back. So here we go. This is macOS, an overview of the desktop. Right, so very quickly, across the top here we have the Apple menu. We'll cover that in a little bit. We have the app menu. So this is where you'll see any menus relating to the app that you have selected or open. Then we have the widget area, very handy. I'm going to talk mainly about the widgets on the right hand side here. We have Spotlight, notifications, and that pretty much runs out the menu bar at the top. Now on most computers the dock usually appears at the bottom of the screen here. I don't have mine there. I have mine on the left hand side to give me more vertical screen space, and I also have it do this popping out and disappearing act. So that's the dock, and let's work our way around then and just have a look at everything in a bit more detail. So the Apple menu. The first thing on the Apple menu is about this Mac, and this is a handy little place to get all sorts of information about your computer. So while we're in this window, I'll take the opportunity to mention that the version of macOS I'm using is macOS Sierra version 10.12.5. Now, the other information you'll see here in this overview screen is handy little stuff. So it tells you what your computer is, processor, how much memory it's got, what the disk is that you're using, what graphics you have installed. So this is using shared graphics, this machine. And extremely handy across the bottom here, it has your serial number. So if you have any issues with your computer, you need to get back to Apple and try and get them fixed, the first thing they will ask you is, what is your serial number? And this is the perfect place to find that. Now you also have an extra couple of buttons at the bottom here. Software update will take you to the App Store to check for software updates to the operating system. And system report will give you a bunch of more detailed information about all the different parts of your computer. So I won't go into that. We won't bore you with that at this point, but feel free to go in there and have a bit of a nosy around and learn a bit more about your machine if you want to. Next tab along tells us basically what displays we have attached. Now obviously this is a laptop, so there is only the one display. If you attach other displays, you should see those here when they are attached and working. Storage. Fairly simple little screen. This looks very similar to the disk utility app, but essentially shows you at the top here the disk that you're currently using, but also lists underneath it all the other disks in the computer as well. So as you can see, I have my hard drive partitioned into 3 separate disks, and at the bottom here another another obvious bit of proof that this is an old computer. Being a 2010 model, it still has the still came with the super drive in it. Next tab along is the memory. So this is pretty easy, self-explanatory. Tells you how much memory you've got and shows you how much is in each slot. Really handy little thing here. It shows you how, in this instance, you can upgrade that memory. So you click on that little link, it takes you away and gives you the instructions for how you can upgrade or change what memory you've got installed. In this particular computer, I can do that. Support, really handy little screen once again, tells you some resources for specifications and information about your machine, and where you can go to find information about the software, more of the software itself, so macOS support, the user manual, etc. And last but not least, if you have Apple Care, here's the handy little links to help get your computer fixed using Apple Care if you had purchased that when you bought your computer. Alrighty, so let's have a look then at the app menu. So the app menu here at the moment is on Finder, and that's because I've clicked on the desktop and there is nothing there. It defaults to Finder. Now if I open Finder, there's what Finder actually looks like. And the menu you see up the top here relates to that app. Alright, so all your various menus, and they're all fairly similar across lots of different various operating systems. So you have a file menu, you have an edit menu, a view menu where you can change what you're looking at and how you look at it, a go-to, and how to switch between or open various new windows. And a help menu, of course, always handy. So let's open something else. Let's try System Preferences. Now you can see now that I've changed to the System Preferences window that the System Preferences app menu has appeared. And now when I go into this, you'll see all the options are different because it now relates to this app. Alright, so unlike Windows where all your app menus are attached to the top of the window that the app is using, now in macOS they are, or they always have been in macOS, attached to the menu bar at the top, hence the name menu bar. Right, minimize those again, and then we move on to the widget area. Now I have a lot of widgets here that I'm not going to go into. They cover a bunch of various different things, but if you'd like to know more, let me know and we can cover that in another video. So the first one I want to look at quickly is time capsule or time machine. So this basically is how I back up my computer, and these things are fantastic. I'm going to talk more about time machine and time capsules in another video, but yeah, that's what this little symbol here is for, anything to do with time machine. Next one along, very handy and one you'll probably use a lot. It's obviously your Wi-Fi connection, so how you can select different networks, turn it on and off, and down the bottom you also get some options for going into the network preferences to change other bits and pieces as well. And all these menus at the top here off these widgets are all basically the same. They give you some basic things you can do, as well as generally a link to take you to the preferences should you want to change anything that's a little more complicated. Okay, battery as well. Okay, you can change if you go into the energy preferences, you can change how this appears. You can get rid of the percentage, for example, things like that. We also have the date and time. Alright, you can change this to an analog clock or a digital clock, and obviously go to the preferences for more detail. Next here we have the user menu, and this just allows you to switch between users on your computer. Second to last is Spotlight, one of my favorite features, and once again I'm going to cover this in another video, but this is a fantastic feature of macOS. Been around for years and getting better all the time. Last but not least, we have notifications. So the Today tab of notifications, that shows you anything you'd like to see essentially. So at the moment it's showing various stocks. I don't know why I have that there still, but anyway. I can also see what the weather is like, any reminders I might have for today, and any events I've got for tomorrow. If I scroll up, it tells me what the date is. I can switch on the Do Not Disturb, which basically cuts out any of these notifications. And I can also see I have no events on my calendar for today. It's a bit boring, isn't it? Anyway, notifications themselves. So this basically tells me all the different things that my computer might want to notify me of, various apps that I'm using, things like that, things that are happening on my computer from moment to moment. Alright, so that's the menu bar and all the widgets at the top. Next, let's have a look at the dock. Now, as I mentioned before, the dock usually appears down the bottom. You can make it hide, as I do, or you can leave it there permanently, and this can be set up in the system preferences, which we'll have a look at in another video, as I think I mentioned earlier. So on the dock here, I'm just going to cover a few basic little things. So first of all, you can see that it is split into two sections. So below the arrows here, we have the downloads folder, another folder for Windows 10, which I have installed on here via Parallels, and the trash can, always handy. Above the line, this is where all the apps that I choose to put on my dock reside. Now obviously if you have your dock at the bottom, these would be to the left, and these ones down here would be to the right. So what would I like to tell you about this? Well, it's fairly obvious that as you scroll up, as you move across your icons, they get bigger to make it easier to see what they are, and that also tells you what it is, what the name of that icon is as well, or what the name of the app is. So something else that not everybody realizes when they first start using a Mac is that the dock also tells you which apps you have open and which ones you don't. So you can see as I go across these, and even when they're sitting still, some of them have a little dot below them. So that dot basically means that that app has an open window, or is open and running. So if you want to have a quick glance to see what apps you have open, you can just look at your dock and it tells you straight away. Just by looking at below the app or next to the app, you can see the little dot there tells you, yes, that one has an open window. Really, really handy. So there are little menus and things that you can get in here. I'm going to go into these in a little bit more detail in another video when we talk about the dock. But there's lots of little things that you can do in here once you know what you are looking for. So there you have it. That's the dock. Just a very basic overview of the dock there, and the general layout of the Mac OS desktop. So there we have it. Once again, thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below in the comments, or you can go to my website and connect with me there and ask me for any other assistance or more detail if you wish. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. Even better, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you back in another video hopefully next week. Until then, have a good time, and we'll see you then.